Welcome back, this is Crash, and this is actually a bit different from the normal videos that I show. Usually I have gameplay videos, and this is technically a gameplay video. But this video will be myself DMing, running a campaign that's Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The name of this campaign is Circulus. It is a homebrew setting, which basically means I made it up as I went along. I do have some background that's built, but a lot of what gets created will be through the interactions between myself and the other players who will be introduced in a little bit. I'm recording this after the fact to sort of let you know what's going on before you just drop into the thick of it. We will be playing on a campaign setting called Circulus. That's the name of the world. It's the name of the continent as well. It's the name that's on the screen right now, actually. Circulus is a bit of a weird planet in that eons ago, it got hit by something big, and it left a pretty large caldera, a pretty big crater on one side of the planet, and that's pretty much the only collection of landmass. It's one giant ring of a continent with sort of an island continent up there in the corner, as you can see on this particular map. There's a bunch of little islands scattered around, but nothing more than a few days sailing away from this giant landmass. Everything else is just ocean. Now, because of that huge strike, it killed off everything that had been on the planet already. All the sentient life forms and life forms in general that exist on this world came over through some magical or technological means. So it is a fantasy setting. It is Dungeons and Dragons. We do have all the playable races you would expect to have, but some of them got here through different ways. Like Dragonborn were actually created by the humans that were running a giant empire at the time, and there's no dragons to speak of. They didn't bring dragons over when they came over. Go figure, they thought that might be a bad idea. This adventure takes place about 1,000 years after a giant world-spanning empire fell. It was run by humans. The humans had enslaved all the other races. The other races didn't like this. They rose up and took out the empire. Now, basically, it's a collection of city-states and smaller kingdoms. It's not a world-spanning empire anymore. Think of it as sort of like what happened after Rome fell. You ended up having a bunch of smaller kingdoms that some of them kept the traditions, some of them scrapped all that and said, hey, we're doing our own thing now. There was a bit of influence that went all over the place. But you have a bunch of small organizations. They are still sort of quasi-governed by what's referred to as a council of races. They're kind of like the United Nations, only with actual power if you make them angry. But that's probably not going to play a big part, especially in the beginning of our campaign. This particular set of adventures is going to start off right where that big red arrow is pointing. Our adventurers are heading towards a smaller kingdom it's landlocked, doesn't have any beachfront property. It's sort of nestled in between a whole bunch of mountains. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because that'll be introduced as we play. And one last thing before we get into the adventure, this is really episode 0. I call it episode 0 because this was really a shaking out all the lint and bugs and everything. Some of us who are playing this game hadn't played in a while. We do have one brand new player, Logan, who will be playing the Dragonborn Paladin, is new to Dungeons & Dragons. So sometimes I will stop to explain the rules a bit, partially for the people who are coming back to it, but also because I am aware that we have a new player in the group. Alright, so I think that's enough of introduction. Let's get on to the recording already in progress. Welcome everyone to my Circulus campaign. Just going to have everyone introduce themselves to each other for the sake of the recording. I think we all know our characters already because we've been talking about it for the past half hour or so. Akari, you go first. Who's your character and what do they do?
My character is Vex'Sarin, Vex for short, and he is a half-elf ranger.
And Tom, who's your character?
My character is Panqarim Darkstone, and he is a deep gnome barbarian.
Sin, you're up.
All right, I am Obaim Metalcaster, and I'm a dwarf cleric.
And Logan.
I'm Fenix, and I'm a paladin.
He's a Dragonborn Paladin.
Okay, and for the sake of the recording as well, I am going to say that this is an episode 0. Some of us have been playing for quite some time, and there's no rush to kick off, but some of us, like me, haven't DM'd in over a decade, and some of us are new to the game. Some of us are new to 5th edition. So we're going to make mistakes. Those are house rules. Any mistake I make is a house rule. Okay, so we're not starting off in a tavern. Basically, you have all, for one reason or another, hired on to a merchant caravan and have been traveling with it for some time as guards and maintenance crew and whatnot. You're nearing the end of the run. Winter is fast approaching. It is late fall. Every now and then there's some snow on the ground already. And you are heading towards your final stop for the winter. There are 2 towns that you'll be going through. The one that you are heading towards is called Gore's Gate. From there, you're going to travel through to the city of Coomridge Keep, which is where the merchant is going to be wintering over. It's where he grew up, so he's very excited to get home. He has offered a bonus for everyone who will travel the rest of the way there, and you have taken him up on that offer because, hey, more money, and the bonus includes free room and board for the entire winter at the finest inn in Coomridge Keep. His words exactly. And you thought that might be a good idea for one reason or another. Most people in the caravan did not take him up on this offer, which is a bit foreboding. So he actually has shortened the caravan down. He sold off a bunch of the wagons and horses. You're down to 3 wagons. And a lot of you are doing double duty of guarding and also taking turns driving the wagons. There is one individual that stayed on. His name is Old Bob. And he is a halfling who doesn't speak much, scowls at everyone, and generally he's a nice person to get to know. He has pet names for all of you. None of them are flattering.
Especially for Tom.
Oh, Tom, he likes Tom. He calls him Baldy.
Oh, great.
So you've been traveling through the woods for a while, and you have come across a wagon. It is not in good shape. It is missing 2 wheels on one side, and there are boxes and such strewn all over the road. The wagon is blocking the way. There's no way to get around it. What do you do?
All right, Logan and I are gonna, or Fenix and I are gonna get out of the I guess the what we're in, and we're gonna check out the boxes.
I'll hop down.
Okay.
Can I do a check just to see if there's anything in the area that looks out of place other than the wagon?
You may do a perception check, yes.
Perception 19.
Okay, so you don't see anything in the area that looks out of place other than the wagon and its contents. There are a lot of tracks around the area. The horses appear to have run off very fast in the direction the cart was facing at the time that something happened. You see footprints. Most booted footprints don't appear to walk away from the area, and there are spots that you think are dried blood, but it has rained recently, so you're not 100% certain.
Can I use my natural explorer ability to check exactly the number of people that was here, the size of them, and when they passed through. That's part of favorite terrain.
2 or 3.
Okay.
At least 2 because they were different size boots, but no more than 3.
Did you say the wagon was missing 2 wheels?
The wheels are there. They're just not part of the wagon anymore.
Okay. Does it look like it was rammed or something, or if it was pushed off the road by something big, or that I can
roll
tell?
Perception.
Alrighty. That is... what do I roll for that? Sorry.
You roll a d20 and add your perception modifier.
Alright, I got no
Which
perception
would be your
modifier.
wisdom.
Yeah. No, and... Okay. 13.
Okay, it doesn't look like the cart's been rammed. You find some claw marks. It looks like it's been torn apart.
Okay.
Maybe medium-sized claws. You're not facing a Tarrasque.
Okay.
Is this place that we're in right now, is it fairly wooded or anything like that?
It is fairly wooded. This is actually a bit of a bottleneck of the road, which is why you can't get around the cart.
I understand. Logan says he wants to look around maybe the trees and see if there's anybody just kind of waiting for us.
Okay, roll Perception.
He rolls a 16.
He sees trees.
You can see the forest for the trees.
All right.
Yes, he sees a forest. It's full of trees and rocks.
We're alone, everybody.
There's dead leaves all over the ground. It's a coniferous, it's a deciduous forest, not a coniferous forest. So there's a lot of deep piles of leaves. Theoretically, there could be small children hiding in those piles of leaves, as they're wont to do, but you don't think they would be in an area like this.
Any anything in the boxes that are inside that are in there?
The boxes appear to have jars of various things. Most of them are broken. The boxes are broken open. I'll have you roll Perception just like everyone else at this point, Sin.
Yay! 23.
Okay, so there were precisely 5 boxes in the wagon. Each one contained 20 jars. The jar labels... No. Basically, what you can tell from this is that it doesn't seem like anything was taken. The people who were managing the wagon and the horses are gone, but the gear that was in the wagon was not the target of this. And things got smashed, but it appears they got smashed when the wagon lost 2 wheels and tipped over.
The tracks you said were in the area. Did you say they were leading away, or they weren't leading away?
The horse tracks were leading away at a gallop. The human tracks do not lead away.
Can I roll a tracking check to see where they're going or what direction?
The same way you're going.
The same way we're going. Okay.
I think it's guys. We can just move this thing along so we can get through.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we just move the wagon off the road?
Yeah.
Okay.
The merchant is actually a little upset that you haven't done that yet.
Give me some time.
Logan, you're the biggest one here. Move that.
I just give the merchant a dirty look.
So I want to prove to everyone that I'm a beast. I want to move the wagon myself.
Go
Do a
for it,
strength
big man.
check.
Wow, 22.
Damn.
Okay, so Fenix gives a mighty roar and runs forward and takes the palms of his hands and smacks them as hard as he can on the side of the wagon that is missing its wheels. And the wheels on the other side of the wagon bend at a very odd angle and snap off. And the wagon slides off the road. and smashes apart. What's left of the wagon is now in multiple pieces as it collides with the tree.
Way to go, Logan.
Is there any spare parts that might be useful to us later?
There were.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Logan just snapped by him.
The axles might have been useful, but they are definitely bent at this time.
All right, I'll just give Fenix a dirty look and go back to our wagon.
I'm going to give you a dirty look back.
Try using your reptile brain first.
It was once human at one time. I guess let's continue down the trail, guys.
Everyone roll perception. Again.
I get advantage because of favorite terrain, right?
Go ahead.
Natural 20.
I rolled a 18. Logan rolled a 9.
14.
The first one was a 4. Second one's natural 20.
Okay. So, Logan, you see trees.
Okay.
Everyone else except for Akari sees the wagon's out of the way. Okay, well, let's get this gear started again. Akari, you see the tree that the cart ran into when Logan performed his He-Man ability. You see the tree get up.
Oh no! All right.
It's an ant.
Yeah, good job.
It's not a huge tree, but it is a tree, and it just got up.
It's not a shrubbery, is it?
And so did 7 of its friends.
All right.
Great.
Wonderful.
Roll for initiative.
Okay.
So I don't want to alarm anybody, but I kind of rolled a 3.
I don't want to alarm anybody, but your damage just rolled a 9.
I rolled a 20.
Oh, nice. So our healer's going first.
18.
18? Good. Very
Yeah.
good. Where am I in close proximation to Tom?
At this point, you and Tom are standing next to each other because you both got out of the way when Logan performed his stunt.
Yeah.
The merchant, who I should probably give you his name. I've just been calling him the merchant. His name is Dibs Coin Pincher.
Of course it is.
Yes.
He's a
named for the
goblin,
family
right?
business. But Dibs is sitting at the front of the lead wagon.
Is he what is he, a goblin or
He's human.
human? Okay.
It does sound like a goblin name, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
Well, it sounds like a Warcraft goblin name.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is not Warcraft.
Time is money, friend.
Okay, and I just rolled for the creatures, and guess what? They are really slow. They surprised all of you and didn't know what to do about it.
Actually, they didn't surprise me.
Yeah, they didn't surprise you. Technically,
I was prepared.
Logan didn't know it, but he did a surprise attack.
Oh, nice.
All right. Who's first?
Well, that would be Mr. Natural 20.
Yay! How far am I away from the? Okay, so I'm next to Tom. Tom, would you roll?
You
18?
are not within striking distance of the trees.
No, that's fine.
Logan is.
I'm gonna concentrate and cast resistance on Tom.
Okay.
Next up is Tom.
Okay. So there's 7 of these things. They're all the same size.
There's
or...
8 of them. One of them is missing some branches from the wagon hitting him.
Okay. I'm gonna take my monkey wrench and I'm gonna try to attack that one. I guess the weakest one first.
Okay. So that is within range so that you can move and hit it. So go
Okay.
ahead and roll to attack.
Okay, and that is again what? Sorry.
D20 and then add your attack modifier.
Okay, I'm taking notes on all these. So
This
so
is
that's what
episode 0. This is where we learn.
So this is going to be I'm adding my strength, or is it my dex I'm adding to this?
For this attack, it's going to be strength. Some attacks will be dex instead, but this
Okay.
is you're trying to smash it into bits. That's a strength.
Right.
Is he proficient with a range? Because then he would add his proficiency as well.
Yeah.
It's basically a club.
Yeah.
So strength plus proficiency.
I got a 16.
You hit it. Roll for damage.
Okay, and then that is that's for my weapon or whatever.
It's a club, so off the top of my head, I want to say it's a d6.
I'll check. Club is Club is 1d4 bludgeoning.
Okay, but
Okay.
add your strength modifier to that.
Okay. All right. So that is a 2 for that. So I'm gonna add 2 to my d4. 4.
Okay, so Punk runs forward, jumps over what's left of the wagon, and swings his monkey wrench from right to left. I just smacked my microphone as I'm pantomiming this.
I have done that many a time.
He swings it from right to left, horizontally, and letting out a mighty gnomish yell of "Rawr!" basically chops this tree in half.
Oh, nice.
Granted, it was already injured by the wagon, but you took it into negative hit points.
Awesome.
However, in the process of rushing into attack like this, you are now surrounded by 7 of its closest friends. And they seem to be at the anger stage of mourning.
Remember, Tom, you have a 1 saving throw for resistance to help you out. So
Okay.
hopefully don't get your ass beat too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up is going to be Akari.
Oh wow, I rolled a 9. You must have rolled really bad.
Really bad, yeah.
Right.
For the record, what I did was I rolled 1 die for all of their initiative.
And you just
I
did an average roll.
I rolled a 3.
Okay.
So Logan's gonna be with them.
I wanna shoot an arrow at the one that's closest to Tom.
At this point, it's random, but go ahead.
Okay. And that's 7 plus 5 is 13 to hit.
13 is a hit.
Oh wow, okay. They do not have high AC. D8. That's an 8 plus 3, so 11 points of piercing damage.
Good lord.
Okay, so this tree, you notice that the trees do have faces. It's sort of like how how if there's a random pattern, you can sort of see a face in the pattern. That particular human trait for how our brains work. Well, that's how their faces are. And so you aimed for its face, and there's a hole there now. And that particular tree is still standing, but it looks like when its turn comes around, what's going to happen is it's going to use its turn to fall over.
All right, so Tom got 1 and Akari got the other one. Good stuff.
There's still 6 to go.
And Logan's up.
What's the proximity of where Logan is compared to where the tree ends are?
I didn't say they were ents. I just said they're trees.
Okay, where are they in conjunction to where Logan is?
He could very easily take a swing at 2 of them.
I'll do exactly that.
You have 2 attacks?
No, you have to go for 1, but
Okay, I'll kill him.
he's gonna go for 1 of them. He rolls a 19.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
8 damage.
Okay, and what were you attacking with? It was a
Great
club, right?
With a great club. He has a +5 attack bonus on it, and then he rolls his damage is 1d8 +3 bludgeoning.
Okay, so Logan, you know what you did to the wagon?
Yes. Yes.
You basically that particular tree is now kindling. Give me a perception check,
All of us or just Logan?
Logan.
It's a 12.
Okay, Logan, you are actually kind of surprised. You have throughout your life done things like chopping down trees and whatnot before, and you know you're really strong, but hitting a tree with a club, particularly a tree that's alive, shouldn't make it shatter like that. This tree is apparently made of dead wood, not green wood.
Oh, crap.
Gotcha.
I know what we're doing with.
Okay, so now we have a few of these things left, and they're going to roll to attack. Tom and Logan are within range. Tom and Logan, what are your ACs?
Logan's is a 10.
13.
Okay, the one that's close to Logan that is not splinters does manage to hit him just barely.
I love how the
Looking up
ranger
damage.
has. I love how the ranger has more AC than the barbarian and the paladin.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. So the tree slashes at Logan with one of its branches, which isn't so much a branch as it is an arm that ends in some rather sharp-looking claws, but it sort of scrapes across your scales. It only does 2 points of damage.
All right, he's at 9. Thank you.
However, there are 4 other trees that are not within range of our Dragonborn Paladin, so they are going to go for the squishy-looking gnome in their midst.
Alrighty.
You do have 1 saving throw, just so you know.
Okay.
How does that particular spell work? Remind me.
As long as I'm in concentration, he gets 1 resistance check, or one saving throw. He can reroll 1 on one, only 1 of his choosing.
So
But that's a
basically
saving throw that won't help.
Yeah, that's for if like someone tries to poison him, he can save against that.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Which you don't know what you're fighting.
Correct. That's the reason why.
Akari might be metagaming and know what you're fighting. But
I know what we're fighting because I've used this mob in my campaign that we did on Monday.
Look, I never know when somebody's gonna be having a poison out, or something's gonna be some crazy ass.
It makes sense because you didn't know what you were up against. So hey, here's one less thing to worry about.
Correct.
I'm not purposefully metagaming. I just know it because I literally put it in our campaign.
That's fine. Oh dear.
Oh god. Are we in the saving throws territory?
I'm getting out my phone so I can take a picture of this.
Please do, because we can't deny it. Please do.
No,
we can't deny
it means I'm healing next turn. That's exactly what it means.
Yeah, healing. Yeah, let's go with healing. So, the good news is that one of those rolls was a natural 1.
That was the bad news.
Now, this particular creature has a +3 to hit. Without adding the +3, one of those rolls was a 14. And 2 natural 20s.
Oh
my god! Holy
Of course there was 2 natural 20s.
So a 1 doesn't negate a natural 20?
No, because there's 5
the
mobs.
one that rolled a 1
Okay.
basically tries to take a swing at you. But the one that you cut in half, half of it landed on the one that's trying to take a swing at you. So it pretty much just ends up doing more damage to the corpse of the one that was next to it.
Gotcha.
It's I'm not gonna do entangling rules, but if I was, it would be entangled.
Okay.
I'm grabbing more dice.
Oh god. It's never good when he's grabbing more dice.
Yeah. I'm thinking ahead of my next
to be
character.
fair, they're
right?
D4s.
Okay, that's not too bad, but it's still probably going to kill him. What's your health, Bill?
13 hit points.
Actually, I think it'll be fine. I don't think I'll kill him unless he rolls all 4s.
It's 1d4 plus 1.
Okay, you might die.
You're down to 2.
Ouch.
So basically, one of them ends up being a comedy routine from the Three Stooges, but the remaining 6 of them just pretty much do a different comedy routine where they all just sort of like bend in towards you and start scratching. Every now and then you see an arm or a leg stick out from inside the pile.
Dog pile on the gnome.
Pretty much. Okay, so that's the end of that particular round. Next up, Sin. Let's go with you.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to break concentration in order to heal him. So you
don't break concentration unless you're actually using another concentration spell.
Yeah, it can be broken if you take damage, but otherwise, yeah, you have to stop concentrating.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to stop.
No, you don't have to stop concentrating because a healing spell doesn't require concentration.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm gonna be using Cure Wounds on Tom. 7.
Okay, so Tom, you're back up to 9 hit points.
Right.
Basically, as you're flailing around inside this tree pile, as one of your arms sticks out, Obaim the dwarf runs forward and basically grabs your hand in this manly, almost arm wrestling move. Or dwarfly, I guess. Gnomely? One of those. Take a combination of those. And you feel healing energy flow through his arm into yours, and you feel a bit stronger because of it. All right. So we're not doing a player death yet. maybe at the end of it.
First combat, you're almost killing someone.
Punk, Tom, you're up.
All right. Since they're kind of like all over me, what I'm thinking I want to do maybe is just kind of just grab them, like grab 1 or 2 of them that are near me and just try to rip them apart to like get them off me. So that'd be like an unarmed strike, I'm guessing, or...
You can try that. You're not going to be able to do this to 2 of them at once.
Okay,
if you're trying this, you're going to have 2 hands on one of them.
Okay. Then I'm just going to grab just 1 of them and just try to rip it apart and just get it off me.
Okay, so roll to attack.
Okay, so that's just
actually no, I'm wrong. That would be like a grappling check.
I think so, yeah.
Dang, I forget grappling rules already.
Strength roll.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know if it was strength or dexterity. Okay, so basically it's like rolling an attack because you're still going to add your strength modifier.
Okay. All right, so that's 1d4 then, so plus 2.
No, you roll your
You're rolling a d20 plus 2.
Oh, all right, sorry.
Matter of fact, I will consider, because you are so close to these things, I'm going to declare that you have advantage, which means you roll 2 d20s and tell me the higher number.
Okay. So first one's 14, and second one's 13. So 14.
Okay. Roll a d4 and tell me the number.
2.
All right, so you managed to get in the process you drop your monkey wrench because you need 2 hands to be able to do this grapple attack. But you drop that to the ground. You can pick it up next turn if you're alive. And you basically reach out and put 1 hand on top of the equivalent of this thing's shoulders. So 1 hand on each shoulder. And you give another mighty gnomish battle cry.
Yeah.
Yes. And you yank hard. And you said the number was 2?
Yeah.
1 of its arms comes off. The other one is still there. Now you're holding on to it. But the other arm is in your hand, and you might actually be able to use that as a club if it doesn't shatter.
That's what I was thinking. I want to beat it to death with its own arm.
Well, considering how many hit points it has left, you might be able to.
Yes.
Okay, so Akari, Vex'Sarin, or Vex for short, you're up.
Hey, Akari, real quick. Then what's your hit points at, just so I can track it for my personal.
I'm full health. I'm at 11.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I wanna. Are any of them looking rough, other than the one that he's gonna beat to death with his own arm?
Matter of fact, the one that's looking rough is
The one that I put a hole in.
Oh no, that one's dead.
Right. Okay.
Inertia's the only thing holding it up at this point.
Knowing that, then I would like to go for one of the full health ones. If I can get another.
I was gonna say, because the one that is injured is on the other side of Punk. So
okay. I would have.
Granted,
Punk.
he's a gnome, so it wouldn't be too hard to fire over him.
So it's like half cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you roll low enough and you hit the cover, then someone might need to reroll a character.
That's 10 to attack. 10 to hit.
That is a miss. So
Yep, I figured
basically, it flies through the branches of this thing. So far as the space it takes up, it would have hit if it was solid, but the branches, the little twigs go in various directions, so it sort of just goes swish through.
Do I see where my arrow landed?
It does hit a tree, but this tree apparently isn't upset with you.
Okay, so I can. I'm just checking so I can recover that after we kill these things.
Happy trees.
As a bonus action, could I do a nature check on them just to see? Because you said they were dead wood rather than green wood. Could I do a nature check just to see if
Roll a
there's
perception
anything
check to see if you noticed the same thing that Logan noticed.
with advantage, because favorite terrain. 12? Oh no, perception's 4. So 14.
Give me a nature check.
Am I re-rolling?
No, this is a different check.
Okay.
This is for something else. First, I was
That'd be
rolling.
also-
First was a perception check to see if you noticed what Logan noticed.
Both with advantage, 2 14s in a row, so add so 16.
Okay, so you're not entirely sure what you're fighting, but you have heard tales of forests where sometimes if there's something really evil in the forest, like something really bad news died in there, sometimes that evil remains and does bad things to the environment around it and corrupts it. And sometimes that corruption does lead into the trees that are in the forest as well.
Okay. I'll write that down.
So, were you right about your metagaming?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. You can't not know something. The skill is when you do know something, how do you still play your character in such a way that you are not, and I'm not saying this for your benefit because you already know this.
That's why I did the perception and the nature check, just to cover the back.
Because you can know everything about it. Like, if someone really likes the Waffle Crew and they paid attention to the entire campaign, they can still take a character through Ravenloft. It's still doable. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can. Because it's a really dark and evil place, and I don't want to go there. Okay, so Logan. Fenix, you're up.
What's the prox? Okay, so
If you don't move, there is still one more that's in range. The one that just took a swipe at you and did 2 points of damage is right there in front of you. You could move to try to help Punk if you wanted to. You are close enough that you could move and attack at the same time.
Speaking of Punk, how many people are around him?
4 that are attacking him right now. The 5th one is in front of you.
Can I run to him and pull him out?
You can try. I will say, and I'm primarily going over this because you are new to the rules. If you go and pull him out, mechanically, the way the game works, you will be opening him up to attacks of opportunity, which basically means if you're moving away from something that wants to do bad things to you, it gets a chance to do bad things to you without you being able to stop it.
I'll just kill the one that's in front of me.
Okay.
Good call.
Well, you could have also run forward and tried to attack one of the ones that was attacking Punk, but this thing just made Fenix bleed his own blood. So I can
Nobody
see how
makes me bleed my own blood.
Exactly. So go ahead and roll to attack.
He rolled 8.
Okay, so you take a swing, and similar to what happened with Vex'Sarin, you do manage to connect to part of this creature, but it sort of just like swings through the loose twigs and stuff, and you break a few of them off, but it doesn't look like you really did much to it.
This is where we got our first character death.
You never know. I might roll another natural one.
Let's hope it's 5.
Okay, well, I'm going to roll for the one that's in front of Fenix first. What did you say your AC was again?
10.
That is a hit.
His AC gets a Constitution bonus, right?
No, not Constitution.
Okay.
What's the armor that he's wearing?
We're just in rags.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in traveler's clothes, remember?
So if he has a dex bonus, that gets added.
Yeah, I don't think he has one.
Okay.
Well, let me go and check real quick. Fenix, no, he rolls an 11, so no dex bonus.
Okay. This is one of the rules that I'm not too rusty on. I do remember this one. Up to light armor, you get your full bonus. Medium armor, which is anything above like studded leather armor, you get up to 2 points of your dex bonus. If your dex bonus is 3 or 4, you don't get those 3 or 4, you just get 2. And heavy armor, if I remember correctly, you don't get a dexterity bonus at all.
Heavy armor, there's no dex bonus. Light is
correctly.
Yeah, light's full dex bonus, and then medium's up to max of 2. What armor is he wearing? Because some do actually have stealth disadvantages as well.
We're just in traveling clothes, that's all.
Okay.
For one of these, I'm going to have a roll disadvantage just because it's missing an arm.
Damn the arm.
And it's grappled.
No, this is a good thing. We want him to roll disadvantage on everything he has to do.
That's a 4.
Oh, thank God.
So the one that Punk is holding its arms, technically he's still holding both of its arms, just in different places. Tries to swing, but tries to swing with the arm that Punk removed.
Phantom limb.
That does, yeah, phantom limb syndrome. It doesn't work as well as he would like it to. Actually, if I rolled without doing disadvantage, it still wouldn't have hit. That's a miss. That's a miss. That's a hit. So we're at the point now where they're all trying to get at you, but they're sort of getting in each other's way. So it's a bit more difficult for them to swing at you. 2 points of damage.
Okay.
And that ends the turn. Meanwhile, in case anyone is keeping track, Dibs is pretty much just cowering in the wagon at this point, saying, "Kill them! Kill them!"
Oh, I assumed.
Only it's a deeper voice than that. Kill them! Kill them!
No, I assumed the first one.
Every now and then, it sort of cracks just a little bit. He's very good with money. In your travels with him, you've come to respect, if not his personality, then at least his ability to make a good deal, and he's always treated his employees well. Oh, and old Bob is primarily trying to keep the horses from doing the same thing that the horses for that previous cart did. In case you
They do not want to go. Yep.
They're not the happiest beasts of burden at this point. And Logan in particular would end up being street pizza if they did end up running down. But that has ended the turn. Sin, you're up for round 3.
All right, let's go ahead and attack one of the ones. Since I'm next to Tom, I want to attack the one that's next to him.
Roll the hit.
Roll a 17.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
6 damage. I'm using a mace, which is a 1d6 plus 1 for bludgeoning. I rolled a 5, which gives it a 6.
Okay, so you take your mace and you bring it down on what would be the thing's head, pretty much because you're seeing other people aim too high and it goes through the tree branches, so you're just coming from top down. And the mace goes to where this thing's navel would be if it had a navel.
Nice.
Jesus.
They are made of dead wood. They are very brittle and they smash easily. It wouldn't be a problem at all, except there's so many of them. Next up is Tom. Punk. What do you do?
All right.
You're going to ask one of these things if they need a hand?
Exactly. I'm gonna. I guess the one that I ripped its arm off. It still has a head for me to try to.
Yes, it does. Just
All
above
right,
where
I'm
the
going-
shoulder used to be.
I'm gonna try to remove its head with its own arm.
Does he still have advantage of attack?
You know what? I'll give you that. I'll give you that because you haven't said you let go of the other
Technically
arm
still
yet.
grappled, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So I'm rolling a d20 twice in that case.
Technically, I should roll to see if the thing is escaping, but I'm just. Remember what I said about anything I don't do right? It's just house rules. Basically,
I'm
because
okay
it
with
was-
you not doing saving throws.
It's. I just looked at this
Got
thing's
it.
intelligence. It's dumb enough that it might not realize you ripped its arm off yet, so it's not necessarily reacting properly to this. It's not trying to get out of your grip because it doesn't know that that arm that's now free is free because you ripped it free. So go
Got
ahead
it.
and roll advantage.
Got a 13.
Okay, that just barely hits, but it does connect. Roll
Alright.
1d4 for damage
Okay.
and add your strength.
6.
Good roll.
Okay, so you have a cloud of splinters go into your face.
Ah!
Only half of what its head would be disintegrates. The arm is you're not going to get a second swing with that arm.
Right.
But you definitely did enough damage that it just goes limp in front of you.
And I still have a movement I can make.
It would provoke an attack of opportunity.
Oh, never mind then.
You
I was
still
gonna-
have
if
a
you-
bonus action as well, though.
I was gonna grab my wrench back.
Oh, that's not a move.
Okay.
That's-
Okay.
Can you do that as a bonus action?
Yeah, you can.
I just want to have it ready for the next round. So
I would consider, unless it's contested, I would consider that to be a free action, to be honest.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
He
after a grapple, I think that would. I'm just thinking about it right now, and I think a grapple would actually take the whole turn.
Well, if he's initiating a grapple, but
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
at the start of his turn, he killed it, and now he can do free actions.
I understand.
So he's not grappling currently. Chris Perkins might have other ideas, but I'm okay with this because he's a gnome. He's close to the ground already. The wrench is right there.
He's a midget.
You just can't attack with it this turn, but you'll be able to start swinging next turn if you're alive.
we prefer the term vertically challenged.
I prefer the term midgets.
Okay, Mr. Pointy Ears Non-Midget.
Hi.
It's your turn.
Again, gonna go for one of the full health ones.
But there's only full health ones left.
Oh, cool! Yay. That's 13, which is their AC class. 8 plus 3 is 11. And that's another arrow gone.
Okay, so no one bring any open flames over to Panq because he is covered in kindling at this point. The arrow goes through this thing, dead center, and it sort of just crumbles in on itself. It had it's almost like the wood was rotting.
This is why I roll my green dice for all my hunter stuff, all my ranger stuff.
And next up is going to be our Dragonborn Paladin. Logan, you still have one in front of you that has done some damage to you. And it had the audacity to not get hit by you last turn. What do you do now?
I'm gonna attack it with rage.
Okay. Technically, you're not a barbarian, so that's not a mechanic. But we'll just assume that you're getting really, really angry, so now you try to smash it really hard.
He rolls a 14.
A 14 is a hit. Roll damage.
Five.
Okay, so you're not getting the massive splinters that everyone else is getting, but yeah, I think you had your turn for that earlier. But you do manage to put this thing down. And there's only one left standing. But it is still fixated on Panq, so it is going to attack him. And that's a hit. And that's another 2 points of damage.
All right, 5.
But I'm no longer going to be saying if you're alive the next turn anymore, because I think you might be okay. Beginning of next turn, Sin, you're up.
Just kill it.
Yeah, it's gonna be I'm gonna attack it. Give me 2 seconds to roll.
I thought you were going to roll for perception.
Well, unfortunately,
See, now he's just pecking on me.
Take your finger. No. That was all good stuff. There was nothing wrong with that. But I'm just sort of like, okay, so yeah, just attack it. It's one left standing. You can probably kill it with one strike, but take your time. Stop and smell the roses. See which way the wind is blowing.
well, I've already rolled for attack, and I
Set Panq on
it's hard.
fire.
My attack. Let me see. Yeah, I rolled a 5. It's stupid.
So you missed.
I missed wholeheartedly.
Swing and a miss. Okay, but that's okay because it's Tom's turn and he's got a wrench.
I would like to remove this one's head as well.
Roll to remove head.
Alrighty. So, natural 20.
Woo!
Okay, so for this it's a D4. So roll 2D4 and then add your strength.
6.
But this is a natural crit, so what I'm going to say happens is, at the end of your last turn, you had reached down to pick up your wrench from where you dropped it. At the beginning of this turn, you swing from this crouched position. The wrench drags across the ground. The end that you're not holding drags across the ground, and as you stand up, you lift it, and it goes right between the trees, the equivalent of its legs. And it does not stop as you continue to raise it all the way up to pointing straight up in the air. The tree did not move up. You just cut it in half.
Cleft it in
With
two.
our
With a
wrench. With a frickin' wrench.
Thank you, Akari. I do not have to censor what you said.
I'm going to ask, what were these things?
Dibs is like, trees? Trees,
Yeah, no
right? He looks over at old Bob. Old Bob says, look like trees to me.
I don't like this
I think I
place.
just had a big lag spike.
It's cold and the trees attack you. I don't like this place.
Can I go and pick up my arrows?
You most certainly can.
Yay, back up to 12.
Now, Akari, you already did some rolls for this during combat, but Sin, do a nature check. which I don't think you have points in. I don't think you have a nature skill, so it would just be, I think, wisdom.
No, I don't. I just rolled a 19.
Okay, so in your time in the lands that you came from, so pre-Circulian, before you came to this particular world through that portal that you walked through before the game started many years ago, you do remember hearing stories about a forest that had gone dark over the course of just a few years. And dark as in basically people who traveled through it ended up not traveling through it anymore. They ended up not coming out the other side. And basically something evil had corrupted a portion of the forest, and a lot of bad things had been attracted to it, but also the forest itself had started to attack travelers and various things. And this feels similar to that story. Now this was tavern talk, so you don't know all the details of it, but there was a central location in that forest where everything was springing up from.
Very good.
I would like to collect some of the wood, and we'll use it to cook when we cook dinner tonight.
It's rotting. You want rotting wood?
All right, then I'll just piss on it.
Can I use a lay on hands ability on myself right now?
You can. Matter of fact, I think at this point you can heal yourself up to full.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me get his right now. I gotta see what his spell is.
Can I walk
it's
over?
Not a spell. If I remember correctly, and this is with me not looking it up. I'm sorry, Akari, I am cutting you off. I know that.
No, go for it.
For lay on hands, you can heal up to your hit points. So if he's down to one hit point, he can heal himself to full, and then heal someone else for 1 hit point.
He only needs 5, so he's good.
Yeah, he's fine. So Akari, what was that?
Can I walk up to the horses and just try and calm them down? Because I'm assuming they're spooked from what just happened.
Oh, very much so. Do an animal handling check.
Okay. Is animal handling dex or wisdom or intellect?
Well, on your character sheet, it says you've got a +4 for that. So
It's wisdom. I was just checking if I have an advantage or not. So 14.
I wouldn't say so, because that'd be domesticated animals. But you got a 14 with the +4 modifier?
Yes.
Okay. Between you and Old Bob and Dibs, you do manage to get the horses under control. It was only 3 wagons, and the 2 wagons in the back, those horses really had nowhere to go if that lead wagon didn't go anywhere. Because remember, this was a choke point. So between you and Old Bob, you can get that first wagon calmed down, and then you can take your time to calm the others down. So you do manage to do that. Old Bob is very happy for your help. He only mildly insults you by way of that.
And I mildly insult him back.
How long do I need for my spell to come back? I want to make sure that Tom's okay before we get out of here, before we continue.
You have to do a long rest.
Yeah, long rest for clerics.
All right, no problem.
I'm going to stomp back over to one of the wagons and jump up and just get ready to leave.
I will join him.
Yeah, Logan and I will as well.
I was going to say, okay, so Logan's still standing in the middle of the road. Besides, you know what? He was a help. But
Talk about that road pizza.
Coomridge isn't getting any closer. So, yeah! No. All right, so you all hop on the wagons, and you continue down your merry way. Okay, and you just keep going?
How long is the travel?
You'll probably get to, if you keep going, you'll probably get to Gore's Gate by nightfall.
All right, good. Yeah, let's keep on going.
and I have been rolling while we've been discussing this. You don't notice anything else out of the ordinary between this event and when you arrive at Gore's Gate. Gore's Gate is a walled town. It is surrounded by some farmland. The farmland is primarily sheep and cattle herds. Not a whole lot of crops except for what they feed to the livestock. But there is a wall surrounding the entire town, and also a wall on the far end of the town. You can actually see it from a hill as you're approaching, that separates the town from the swamp on the other side of the wall. So anyone wanting to go through the swamp has to go through the town proper. They can't go around it.
Okay.
There are guards at the gate. They do not appear to be very professional. It's pretty much whichever people in town they tapped on the shoulder that day to be guards. They let you in. They don't ask you any questions. They're just like, okay, yeah, come on in. They recognize Dibs. And they're cool with them. He is a bit of a celebrity in the town. He spends a decent amount of money. And he does buy you an inn for the night. Says he's got to do some business. And he and old Bob take one of the carts off with some of the merchandise that they have. But you pretty much have the rest of the evening until sunrise tomorrow morning is when he wants to leave to do whatever you want. It is quite cold. You've seen a few flurries of snow on the trip, but nothing accumulating at this point.
I was going to sit in the inn by the fire by myself. Anybody can join me if they want to, though.
Is there a local church?
There are 3 local churches, each to a different deity. You do not recognize any of them.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if
I recognize
mine's different.
Yours is definitely different because yours is not even from this world.
Oh, mine would not be from this world either. Okay, I just kind of take Shepherd out of my backpack and just kind of feed him some bread.
For the sake of the recording, Shepherd is a baby wolf puppy, and he is adorable.
He is so fluffy.
Where is, just a question for the DM, where is Justice?
The bird that Fenix raised.
Correct.
For the most part, he likes hanging out on Phoenix's shoulder. During combat, he sort of flew off, but he didn't really help in the fight. I mean, it's hard to instruct a falcon or eagle or whatever. I forget what kind of bird of prey it is. It's an eagle? It's kind of hard to instruct a bird to attack a tree unless it's a woodpecker. So
that would be awesome. Have a trained woodpecker.
It'd be very specific for combat, but it would be very effective in those situations.
Yes.
I need you to drill a hole here.
Is there a innkeeper or a barkeep?
Well, considering that's who Dibs gave money to give you rooms for the night, 2 rooms, you decide who's sleeping with who. Yes.
I would like to ask the barkeep how much an ale is.
I better not be in the same room with Tom.
I'll take the gnome, it's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's a copper.
Copper? I give him a copper for an ale.
Okay, you get some ale.
Any,
It is, the best way you can describe it is definitely alcoholic in nature.
That's all that it needs.
It tastes a bit better after the second sip. Does not taste as good on the way up.
Is there any shops around by any chance?
Plenty, but most of them are closed for business. You did get into town right at sundown. There's some shops where there's still lights on, but the doors are locked, and it's obvious that the people inside, if you look through the windows, are not interested in making eye contact with you and acknowledge that maybe they should open the door.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to find some corner of the tavern and go pray.
You do that. Now, this would not be you regaining your spells. You would do that after a long rest, so when you pray in the morning, that's when you get your spells back.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Logan's heading to, what are you doing? Are you heading to bed?
Probably.
Yeah, Logan's heading to his room and heading to bed. I'll be in the room with him.
Okay. So, Logan the Paladin, who wants to punch gnomes for the sake of punching gnomes, is stuck in a small room with a dwarf that is praying and moving his lips with the words. Sometimes whispering them instead of just thinking them loudly. All right, so the evening goes on uneventfully. No one asks any questions or anything. In the morning, Dibs shows back up. He still has old Bob with him, but there's a new person in one of the wagons. Actually, he doesn't show up with the wagon. That wagon is gone. So now there's just the two wagons remaining. But he does have a new person that he says will be accompanying you. It's a human wearing robes underneath very thick winter gear, which you all have winter gear also. You're not going to be taking points of damage from the elements for this trip, even though it's incredibly cold. You have... I almost want to call it leather armor at this point, but it's not quite thick enough for that. It's mostly fluffy furs. Ponk, you feel incredibly snuggly, and you've never felt this comfortable before in your life, but you don't want to admit it to anyone, I believe.
That fills me with great joy.
Yeah, they couldn't find something exactly your size, so you're sort of wrapped up in a coat that was meant to be a waistcoat.
I'm swaddled.
You are swaddled, sir. There's just this giant gray nose sticking out of the hood.
Oh.
If I wasn't so ugly, I'd be adorable. So.
Exactly. You're competing with the wolf puppy for adorableness. It's slightly jealous. It has less fur than you do at this point.
Are we still near the inn before we leave, or what?
Oh yeah, you're right outside the inn. The horses are getting saddled and all that. You have this extra winter gear because Dibs is providing it to you. Apparently, when he went to do business last night, that's when he acquired this, as well as this new person who you don't know who this is, and I'm trying to remember his name. Aristobulus Ravenscroft.
You have to spell that one.
Aristobulous.
Okay. What is he?
His character is a human mage. And basically the way he's introduced and with his style of dress, pretty much everyone in the party doesn't have to roll a perception check or anything. You know that either he's a spellcaster of some sort, or he would like to be one.
When you say mage, do you mean sorcerer, warlock, or wizard?
I mean wizard.
Okay.
I've been playing World of Warcraft too long. And the thing is, I play Neverwinter now. They're called wizards in Neverwinter, and I'm still calling it wrong.
Yeah.
This guy is going to be coming along on the trip. You don't get a sense that he's going to be helping much. He's pretty much along for the ride because at this point, no one else is going this way. You're pretty much the only show in town. However, Dibs seems very upbeat, more so than you've seen in maybe a week and a half at this point. He's very happy to tell you that in 3 days' time, you will be in the finest inn in Coomridge Valley. And You will have all winter to just drink as much of whatever that stuff was you were drinking last night, only it'll be better, because this is a better inn. With the finest wines from all over the world, because guess who provided them?
Dibs.
Exactly. You get the sense that this might be why he got a good deal on this particular inn for giving you room and board for the entire winter.
Yeah.
Swear
Not
to God,
impressed.
if he throws us in the servant quarters.
No, you will all have actual rooms. Matter of fact, you'll each have your own room. None of this double bunking like you've been doing.
I want a real bad, not a crib.
Look, for the last time, that was a misunderstanding, and the innkeeper's wife apologized profusely.
Yeah. Grumble, grumble, grumble.
You could have said something before you used the diaper.
God damn.
Hey, I had a lot to drink.
Oh, it was your wages, not mine.
And this is why I stay away from gnomes.
I'm gonna grumble some curses in Undercommon.
Oh, I speak Undercommon.
Good.
So, fun fact. So far as you know, Vex'Sarin, Obaim, and Punk are the only 3 beings on the planet who speak Undercommon.
Good.
I want to go to the Underdark, so I was prepared with Undercommon.
There's no such thing as the Underdark in this world. All the tunnels are controlled by the dwarves, and the dwarves are friendly enough to non-dwarves, but they don't invite you home for dinner.
That's why I can stand you now.
Wait, so are you saying that they know Undercommon and I'm just saying what the heck are they doing?
Yeah, so
Well,
essentially the 3 of us can sit here and talk in Undercommon, you will have no clue what we're saying.
Yeah, because basically those 3, they're not from around here. Although at this point, neither are you, but you're more from around here than the other party members.
You're at least from this planet.
Yes, but you're from the other side of the continent at this point. You've been traveling a while. Matter of fact, more than one person in the short trip, like granted it was after sunset when you arrived, but more than one person this morning, especially in the inn, has given you a second glance where they kind of know that Dragonborn are a thing, but they never actually expected to see a Dragonborn. If you had a reason to intimidate, you would have advantage on the roll. Let's put it this way. You do not have a reason to intimidate.
And fair, it's fine, Logan. I can just sit and talk to you in Draconic. I also speak Draconic. They won't know what we're saying.
Like a pediatric?
I'm a ranger. I have 5 languages.
It would definitely sound like each of you was talking with a strong accent in Draconic, but you would be able to communicate in that. The weird thing about Dragonborn in this particular campaign setting, and you might have I'm just going to say you picked this up during the trip, because every now and then you do get incredibly bored of just watching fields go by, so you talk. But Dragonborn in this campaign setting were created by the Empire right around the time it was losing, just because they figured, hey, having our entire army be primarily orcs when they sided with all the other demi-human races to attack us maybe was not the best idea we ever had. So they created Dragonborn to be a kind of super soldier. They named them Dragonborn because of the mythical dragons. Mythical. Since all the sentient races in this world came over from elsewhere, they didn't bring dragons with them.
For obvious reasons.
There are no dragons on this world.
So he is uniquely different.
Well, there is a small collection of Dragonborn breed true. So there is a settlement of Dragonborn that are mostly living in and around what was once the capital of the Empire.
So I'm basically a weapon.
Well, yeah, your race was created to be weapons. And where they fought against the forces that were rising up against the Empire, the rebel forces of the elves and dwarves, and even the aligned humans, because not all the humans like the Empire either, and the gnomes and all that. Dragonborn were incredibly effective. They are fantastic super soldiers. But there were a lot more of everything else than there were of you. Dragonborn couldn't be everywhere at once. They weren't being created fast enough. So the Empire still fell. Now afterwards, the Council of Races, which was basically... And they even let humans join the Council of Races afterwards. It's not like the United Nations, only with actual power. They do more than write strongly worded letters if someone does something bad. What they do instead is they tell the orcs, hey, you could go over and fight them if you wanted to. And the orcs are like, oh, that's a good idea. We shall do that. And then there's no more kingdom. But it was decided, hey, you know what? The Dragonborn aren't human anymore. They're not controlled by the Empire. So long as they want to play nice, we don't have a problem with them. So you were pretty much just welcomed in. But because you used to be human, there are no Dragonborn sitting on the Council of Races. It's assumed that the human representatives speak for you. You can imagine how well that goes.
I don't imagine very well at all.
Well, they're not human anymore, so the humans aren't going to really speak for the Dragonborn.
No.
You don't have a seat at the table, but you're pretty much insular and introverted anyway. Most Dragonborn don't end up speaking to outsiders much at all. You are an odd duck, as it were, because you decided to go out adventuring.
All right, let's get this meat wagon on the road.
All right, well, we certainly will, starting next week.
Yay! Starting next week!
Yes, because now we have introduced the last of the party, but he's not here to play his character, and I'm not playing his character in the first adventure. So ends episode 0. Thank you, everyone. We'll do this again, same time next week.
Okay. Thanks.
And now I have an hour and a half worth of recording to edit.
You have fun with that.